At 6 a.m. on May 21st, Nepali guide Vinayak Jayamala reached the summit of Mount Everest for the fourth time. As the sun rose, he noted the unusually warm temperatures and the perfect conditions for a summit push. He predicted the 100 climbers above Camp 3 would soon reach the top. After 15 minutes, he and his client, a Peruvian climber, began descending. They crossed the narrow summit ridge, which had been covered with snow from a recent storm, creating dramatic cornices. The descent slowed when they encountered a massive group of climbers, both ascending and descending, sharing the same safety rope. The situation quickly became a bottleneck, with the line moving slowly. Among them was American climber Mark Baumgartner, who had just summited Everest. He remained calm despite the traffic, appreciating the good weather. Suddenly, a rumble echoed, and one of the snow ridges collapsed, sending climbers tumbling down the Kangshung face. Mala described it as an earthquake-like experience, with everyone terrified. Baumgartner witnessed a horrifying scene as several climbers fell, some still attached to the rope, but two continued sliding toward a sheer drop. He realized that not all climbers were clipped in. The southeast ridge, the final stretch before the summit, is notoriously narrow and treacherous. It has become more unstable since the 2015 earthquake, which caused the Hillary Step to collapse. The drop-offs on both sides are extreme. One side plunges into the western Sim, while the other drops 11,000 feet down the Kangshung face. For experienced guides like Mala, the soft snow and cornices pose serious dangers. This spring, rope fixers encountered deep snow along the ridge, but the conditions quickly flattened it, allowing climbers to move through more easily. After workers completed the lines to the summit on May 11th, small groups of climbers attempted to reach the top. However, strong winds and a violent storm kept most climbers grounded until the third week of May. A period of favorable weather then triggered a rush to the summit, leading to inevitable gridlock. Guides teach clients to pass slower climbers, or those descending by unclipping from the safety ropes, a maneuver only done in low-risk areas. Vinayak Mala, an experienced guide, emphasized the importance of safety in such situations, often attaching an extra rope to ensure one person is always clipped in. However, not all climbers follow these guidelines, and some guides bypass the ropes to save time, especially in the thin air of high altitudes. This haste might have contributed to a deadly incident when two climbers fell after failing to reclip into the safety ropes during a traffic jam. Cornices and snow collapses are common risks on Everest, referred to as objective danger. But the deadly collapse on May 21st shocked experts like Billy Bierling, who suggested that warmer temperatures due to climate change may have contributed to the collapse. Witnesses, including climber Mark Baumgartner, stood in shock after the incident. The delay in movement stretched for over 20 minutes, with climbers unsure whether to search for the missing climbers, as rescue operations are nearly impossible in the death zone. Mala later identified one of the missing climbers as Nepali guide Pas Tenji Sherpa, who had been seen with his client, British climber Daniel Paul Patterson, just before the collapse. Mala believes both may have briefly unclipped from the ropes to pass slower climbers when the cornice gave way. After the accident, news of the collapse spread quickly. 8K expeditions, which employed Pas Tenji, organized a search for the missing climbers, but it was called off on May 26th without success. Patterson's partner, Beck Woodhead, launched a GoFundMe to fund a recovery mission for his remains. Nobody wanted to move, Mala recalled. We were all running out of oxygen. I realized I had to act, so I moved forward and began breaking a new trail. Mala stepped around the frozen climbers, attaching himself to the now empty rope. He carefully advanced across the steep face, kicking footsteps as he went. Soon, other climbers began to follow him. In Mala's view, his actions helped prevent a larger disaster. Had climbers stayed paralyzed in shock, some could have run out of oxygen and died. After a few minutes, the situation resumed as usual. Mala and his client descended to Camp 3 for the night, then continued down to base camp. Baumgartner and his team rested briefly at Camp 4 before heading straight to base camp. After witnessing the disaster, Baumgartner had one goal: to return safely.